Phoenix thing, and we're talking about Chris Paul. I don't know who sent me a text saying or asking me if you think Chris Paul is the top 5 point guard all time. But it got me thinking. Well, let's just bring it to the guys in the next podcast. Chris Paul and what he's done. He's played on like 6 different teams: New Orleans, the Clippers, the Thunder, the Rockets, the Suns. Who am I missing? It's 5 of us, right?
I think that's it.
That's it. 5 teams.
So 5 teams, and he's gotten 1 finals appearance.
Yeah. So let's just debate this. Is Chris Paul a top 5 point guard all time? And I mean, I guess you want to really list also too what your top 5 looks like. You guys.
Sure. Who wants to go first?
I mean, you want me to start us off? I mean, Chris Paul. I don't know if it's legitimately like lock, sealed, and delivered. I have a hard time saying no.
There's no way.
So
I will take over.
Okay.
I'll help everyone. All right. Pre-1980, who are the greatest point guards of all time?
So you got Bob Cousy.
Bob Cousy and Oscar, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about Walt Frazier?
He was definitely not top 2. He might be number 3.
Easy to say pre to 80. I'm just throwing out names up here.
And the fact he's with the Knicks.
What about Bogo?
Who? Oh, Jerry was a shooting guard.
Huh?
Jerry was a shooting guard. He wasn't a point guard.
So you take those 2 guys, then you go from 1980 on. You look at Magic, who Chris doesn't even believe is a point guard, even though he runs the offense
power forwards,
of
bro.
the team.
Guarded power forward.
Then you have the guy who leads the NBA history in steals and assists in John Stockton. Right? I mean, if you're the all-time assist guy, all-time steals guy, went back to back-to-back finals, shouldn't you deserve top 5 status? Well, and then let's take another team who went to back-to-back finals. Your boy. From Detroit.
No, he went to back-to-back finals. Lost the first one, won the next 2.
There you go. 1 back-to-back final. So you have those 5 that we have just barely grazed talking about. And people want to utter Chris Paul because he got to 1 finals and could make the playoffs with the Clippers. Or he could make the playoffs with OKC in 1 year. Oh my God, first round.
Yeah.
He's not a top 5 point guard. It's just that simple.
Okay. Chris, go ahead.
Easy. It should be a discussion if he's the greatest of all time at that position. Not even close.
How do you even justify him being the greatest of all time? Is it the lack of playoff
not even
wins?
With Bob Cousy, who had like 17 Hall of Famers on his team. We're not going to throw him in there. Big O was tough because he stat god, but solid defensive player, so he's up there. Big O's way up there. Isaiah's career too short, man. Career way too short to be
the impact.
Oh my God! So all you have to do is play long. You don't have to dominate ever. Never dominate. Never
you can
lead your
at
team.
Say in majority of Chris Paul's career, he was the best point guard in the league.
No, he was never.
So
Jason Kidd.
So in
Steve Nash.
Wait. So Chris Paul came in 2005, right? 2005.
4.
Okay. So from 4 to 10, I would say Steve Nash was probably number 1 a chunk of that time. I would say besides Steve Nash,
Jason Kidd and Steve Nash were number 1 for half his career.
No, Jake Kidd at that point started to tail off at that point.
He was taking teams to the finals.
Yeah, but he wasn't a top point guard in the league. I mean, it's amazing, but
JJ in the Nets like early on was.
But that's we're talking about pre 2005. We're talking about 2005 on. We're talking about here. We're talking about 2000 pre 2005.
Pretty much, it was CP3 and Darren Williams for those like.
That was a fun time. Remember, it was a good 2-3 year period where we thought Darren Williams was probably the best point guard in the league. Yeah, he was pretty good in Utah.
He was a dominant.
Those two guys are pretty much top two in the league for quite a while until Darren went off.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my. Okay, so this is the thing with my list. I have a lock four. A lock four. You know, you can argue the order, whatever it may be, but I have four guys who, no matter what you argue the order, they're in the top four. Magic, Steph Curry, Isaiah Thomas, and John Stockton. Those are lock four. You can't move any of those guys out of the list. That's my opinion. So for me, the real argument starts at five. Now, to me, you're really considering. Go ahead, Zach. What are you gonna say?
It's like for you, the NBA did not count before 1980.
So here's my argument. Here's my argument. This is not an argument against Big O at all. I don't know if I even consider him a point guard. To me, he was so much bigger than just being a point guard. Like, to me, he's.
But you give that to Magic?
Give it to Magic. At least
Magic was a point
guards or guards. Period.
Magic was a point guard though. That was those. You're arguing about defensively if he wasn't a point guard. Obviously, the point guard.
Ernest.
Oscar even guarded guards.
Yes, Oscar guarded guards. Magic.
So disrespectful.
Just because you bring the ball up the floor and orchestrate the offense does not mean you're a point guard.
Really?
Wait.
Yeah. Has LeBron ever been considered a point guard in his career?
What's the definition of a point guard, Chris?
It's the position.
But so like you have shooting guard. Their whole purpose is to shoot, not to run the offense, but to shoot.
Yeah, but Magic Johnson, for example, like a lot of it too, also the fact he was 6'9", he didn't guard point guards because he was better suited being under.
They played Byron Scott and Michael Cooper his entire career. Two other guards.
So smart.
Real guards.
Magic played near to the basket on defense because it benefited that team.
All right.
Yeah.
So I have a better question for
power forwards.
How in the world could you put Chris Paul ahead of Steph Curry?
Right now, at this point of their careers.
Well, when we had this argument
for almost all of Chris Paul's career.
Wait a second, we had this argument.
Who has 3 championships? Who's been to 5 finals? Who's got scoring titles?
KD carried them for 2. But keep going.
Wait, KD carried a team that won 73 games and went to
pick up the 2 then. It doesn't matter. I mean, Zach is around this argument. That part, we did it on the 25 last 25 years argument, and you have Chris Paul, what, number 6?
I had 6 and 7 for Chris Paul. Yeah. Steph Curry's right on his heels, right there.
Curry passed him a couple years.
3 finals, 3 championships, 5 finals, 2 MVPs versus Chris Paul, who has never even finished number 2 in MVP. Only been to 1 final.
Did Steph Curry win a Finals MVP yet?
No.
Wait, did he ever show up big time in the finals?
For better than a guy who's only been to 1 finals.
He is shown.
So
the one
Curry
thing I'll say.
Wait, no, Chris. You're saying Curry has to win 4 finals, win a Finals MVP,
no,
2 MVPs to be better than Chris Paul.
All he has to do is
do insane.
3 more years, and he's already passed them. If he just status quo, he doesn't even do anything else in the postseason. But right now, his career is a little short. He was injury marred.
Whose career is a little short?
Steph Curry's.
Steph Curry again. 5 finals.
A little short. Like 12 years, 13 years now.
Yeah, how many years he missed? 3 years ago he missed an entire season. The first 3 years of his career was just on and off, missing tons of 50 game chunks left and right.
Okay, so I gotta ask. It's not a basketball question.
Go ahead.
But I mean, Flacco managed to take a team to a Super Bowl and not have any turnovers one year when he won the Super Bowl. So if we're going by Chris Paul logic, are we saying Flacco's the greatest quarterback in history?
No one ever said that.
Oh, okay. So in the only position, in your opinion, is Chris Paul. Chris Paul is the only guy who doesn't have to actually win in order to be the greatest.
No, because he's proven that he can win no matter where.
My position on this whole thing, I'm in the middle of you guys. Like, I don't agree with Zach calling Chris Paul like that he sucks. And I'm not.
I'm not. I'm saying he's 8th or 9th all time.
No.
8th or 9th all time is not saying he
Point guards?
sucks.
So okay, so my list goes Magic, Steph, Zeke, Stockton. I would consider I could consider Chris Paul number 5. Consider it. I don't know if I can pull the trigger though. I don't know because here's the guys you got to consider. Okay, so even if we bring back Big O in the conversation, I explain my Big O position, of course. Don't know
if you have you just put Big there, you can't do one or the other.
But again, Chris, you can't put Jason Kidd ahead of him, and yet Jason Kidd took the Nets to what 2 finals?
Yeah.
Took the Mavs to a final when he was old. Yet Chris Paul's better than him. Steve Nash won back-to-back MVP. Took the team to a Western Conference final when the West was by far the dominant league.
But that's the thing. That Chris Paul, the hard part of Chris Paul is that his time. Well, he's played the West his entire career.
And didn't ever do anything until last year. I
disagree with that. No, because he had Houston on the doorstep of beating the Durant Warriors, and he gets hurt.
No, he didn't. James Harden did.
Stop.
You're gonna really say it was Chris Paul after what James Harden did the year before in Houston? James Harden does all this stuff in
the
Houston.
Year before,
he wasn't the reason why Houston was winning.
The year before, he lost the 5 games at Golden State, though. What are we doing here?
Here's the one thing you guys do not forget. You guys remember, and that is there's 2 sides of the ball, and there's none of those guys that you have on your list have even made an all-defensive team.
Wait, like John Stockton never made an all-defensive team?
John Stockton
was the only
guy, but he also was not a primary
scorer. Did Isaiah make one?
Huh?
Did Isaiah make one also, too?
Yeah.
No.
I gotta check that. Let me check that real quick. Keep talking. I'm gonna check that real quick because Isaiah was one of the better guys at steals. He was actually one of the better defenders in the league in his heyday. Keep talking.
No, so when you consider most of the guys, I mean, Magic far and away just one-way player. Just there's a lot of guys, the guys who rank highly, except for John Stockton, who isn't that. You're giving away passwords, Zach. Gotta watch out.
I'm checking for the defense thing. But yeah, it looks like
not guys who are great two-way players in that position. So the fact that he slipped in so many defensive teams is key. A lot of guys don't remember. You gotta play 2 ways to be on the all-time list.
But him playing 2 ways didn't get him far. He got far one time in his career, correct? One time.
And unfortunately, with Stockton, the whole one team, him and Carl to the end type thing is always going to hurt him in the end. He's really good. Stockton's like...
Stockton is number 2 or 3 ever.
No, 4.
Because
I'm not putting him in.
It's really a fight between Curry and Magic for 1.
Zeke
is 4.
No,
Zeke. Chris too short, man.
Name me a guy that beat Bird, Jordan, Magic to win titles. I'll wait for that one. He's the only one.
He was the best player on those teams.
He changed his game too, also to make that team work.
And
he was the leader.
Here's how far, Ernest. I'll give you. He's in the conversation for 3rd between Stockton.
He was number 2 for a long time till a couple years ago. So I don't know where we're going with this one. I mean,
because Curry moved ahead of him.
So now he's 3.
It's Magic, Curry, and then I'll let you decide.
Isaiah.
You can put Zeke 3, Stockton 4.
Zeke 3.
And then you have to have Oscar 5. Because otherwise you're saying the NBA doesn't matter before 1980.
No, I mean, if we're going if we're gonna establish Big O as a point guard, then I'm agree with you that he should be number 5, at least in the top
But
5.
we have to because we established Magic was a point guard,
Right.
and Big O was smaller than Magic.
It was 6'5", 6'6", I think it was.
Yes.
We know how much Chris Paul is and how great his fourth quarter stats are.
No, I'm not Chris
Oh,
Paul.
I know. They're just as
I-
great
I-
as his playoff stats.
This is where I stand in the argument. You can definitely consider Chris Paul in the top 5.
No, stop.
the,
We
pro-
have to stop
the
this.
problem is, are you willing to take out Jason Kidd? Are you willing to take out Gary Payton? Are you willing to take out Steve Nash? That's the argument. And then Big O, because I am not putting Chris Paul ahead of Isaiah Thomas or Steph Curry or Johnson.
Here's the reality. Every time you try and say he's top 5, you're making it sound like there's a thought that he could be 1, 2, 3, or 4. He can't. He is 5th to 10th. All right. So you say he's top 10 or top 8, but he's not top 5 because he doesn't make the top 4 at all. He doesn't make my top 5. He doesn't even compete to be in the top 5.
Okay. Well, here's what I would do. If we're all acknowledging Big O, and it's funny how Big O is now in this discussion now. Big O is at least number 4. I got Big O ahead of Stockton. Let's just go there.
He's an all-around playmaker.
Let's go there right now. Big O ahead of Stockton.
But Stockton's got like 11 all defensive teams.
11?
Come on, Chris.
Oh yeah, he's a stud. Stockton's.
Dude, he went every year all-star, all defense. It was just back and forth all year for him.
Now the question is this though: are we valuing that over the one ring that Oscar has?
Oscar played on some shitty Cincinnati teams until he got to Milwaukee.
Okay.
Once he established a second great player, he automatically won a championship.
Yeah, which is Kareem, arguably the greatest player of all time, arguably.
Yeah.
In the top 3.
But
those are Stockton had to deal with the dream in Houston and then go to the finals and compete against Jordan. So I would say making it to back-to-back finals is a pretty huge accomplishment.
Against Michael Jordan? Yep.
Yeah. Michael Jordan.
Whereas you can take half of Chris Paul's career and the West was any team that could make it.
It's funny, like if Utah wins just one title over Jordan, one title, this conversation.
Karl Malone goes into
the legacy of Malone and Stockton changes dramatically. And look, they get the respect. They get the respect still, even so without a ring. But man, if they beat Jordan, won those 2 finals, and they could have, my God, the conversation about Stockton and Malone, because people forget Karl Malone's number 2 all time in scoring.
Yeah, but Malone gets so much flack for his off the field stuff that it's really tough.
No doubt about that. I'm just saying.
I didn't even know he had off field stuff.
So he's banging 15-year-olds. Like he'll never be
14-year-olds. I think.
Yeah, he'll never be whispered amongst the greats because of that. Like
He's also a piece of shit human being too. He fucking like his kids.
So like he will always be way down there. Like the media will always keep him down, which is right, but.
So.
But he benefited from having Stockton set him up his entire career. I mean,
I'm gonna
fucking roll dunk. But...
So in closing of this podcast, real quick, I'm gonna say no.
We have to hear Chris's top 5.
Go ahead before you go.
Big old Chris Paul, Steph Curry,
Magic,
John Stockton. No, Magic's not a point guard, bro. He's a point forward.
Isaiah, at least.
Isaiah probably comes in at 5 for me. Yeah.
Oh.
Short career, man. Short career.
So if I'm going to use Big O's